So this is a fantastic question, and it's one that comes up a lot in this conversation, especially when this time blindness and somatic marker conversation is brought up for the first time. The answer to your question is to first think about how emotion and time are related. That marshmallow experiment that's often talked about, which in adults was often done with money or even cigarettes with prison populations, was to say, if I give you something now, do you want it or do you want to wait for something in the future? And the answer invariably is that it depends on how far into the future, because the further away a potential event is, then typically the less emotionally connected we are with it because it is less certain. What's happening now is inherently the most emotionally important thing because it is actually happening. You're having the experience. So money now has more emotional value than money later. And the only way to compensate for that is something that shifts the value, right? More money later, so that the emotional connection to, $100 outweighs the loss of connection due to the time that passes. $10 now, $100 in 6 months. $10 now, $100 in a week. The closer we get, the more connected we are with it because the more real it becomes. In ADHD, that reduction means also inherently then the time value sort of drops off a little faster than for somebody who's neurotypical and has more emotional connection. So it's all on a kind of spectrum where each person's experience is different. And that's why I argue so strongly that ADHD be considered a neurotype rather than a disorder inherently, because there is a lot of value to having different people with different emotional sort of valences, different connections to now versus later. It is helpful to have people that are strongly connected to the future for planning, and it is helpful to have individuals who are more connected to the now to act and not get stuck, for example, in anxiety. I hope that answers your question, but if not, happy to talk about it further and appreciate the discussion. Thanks.